The war machine rolls on, so do the emissions. We got so much debris in the air, smoke from burning remnants of our oil infrastructure, that it's now causing new weather patterns and drops in temperature across the Middle East. 2 years worth of rain in a day. This is what will be expected moving forward as long as this war continues. Let's first talk about this elephant in the room, shall we? The war effort just unabated. So much fuel, endless. Whatever they need, they get. Yet the breadcrumbs for the serfs out here, you're supposed to stand in line, you're supposed to do without, you're supposed to turn off whatever your life at a certain time. I even saw in Egypt they're going to be making 9 p.m. curfews. All businesses must close. Fuel rationing, yet the war machine has enough fuel, as much as they want and need. So you can see that we are absolutely last in the eyes of the pyramid here. This is such a polluting event and an emissions event that everything we've learned in the last 40 years is just thrown out the window. You can't even take it seriously any longer. When they say, oh, you need to walk to work, ride a bicycle, turn down your thermostat, don't fly, don't drive, just what? You got the war going on. Burning remnants, hulls, and hulks of our previous infrastructure for the planet, energy-wise, is up in smoke, literally a volcano of black smoke coming out of the Middle East, changing weather patterns locally there for now, but that is going to be drifting. So these conversations, when somebody says to you, oh, put a solar panel up, and be like, we'll tell the B-52 to come down. Get that polluter out of the sky, and then we can have a conversation. Oh, stop those aircraft carriers from going over there. What about all the sorties, the flights, all the straddle tankers? We got all the support ships. Oh, wait, what about all this, that, and the other that goes with it? Like we got military up in the whole Russian front up there in Ukraine. That's plenty of fuel for that. The entire Middle East is flaring off, and just ungodly amounts of smoke going into the air, emissions in there, but you're supposed to walk to work and eat insects. I don't think so. How do they say it best? Shut the F up. Let's put it into perspective here. Your burning map, it's very mild here. They're showing you the largest of the destruction. There's thousands of places burning across the Middle East. It's kind of like that Iraq war with the oil wells, but this is far greater than that. You got this black smoke, these hydrocarbons of different varying densities, up 30,000 feet or more into the air now. So what you see, the yellow circles there, those are burning tankers and hulls of ships and just oil on fire in the water. Save the whales, save the fish. Got to get our energy. Refineries, gas fields, LNG, pipelines, terminals, that's all smoking. For example, this is one of thousands that are doing this. There's actually much larger fires, and this is a tiny one. Just an example. Oh, mixing them. Oh, yeah, this is look at that. Does anybody want to talk about the emissions off of this times the thousands every day? Or do you just want to put your head in the sand and pretend this is not happening? That dirty fuel burned is the reason that these near record cold temperatures are occurring across the entire region. Temperature anomalies, those are in degrees Celsius. We're looking at around 6, 7 Celsius, good 15 Fahrenheit below. And we will see in the Hormuz area there is where the coolest of the temperatures are. Do you think there's reflection because of the soot in the air? Do you think? Let me put these maps together for you here. Burning platforms and cold temperatures and rainfall records beyond biblical. Well, we're getting there. 2 years worth of rain in a day is pushing it. Same areas on fire, same areas affected weather-wise. Got to be a correlation. Now, this is the rain map for you, along with, well, all the smoke coming out of this area. And I will say one thing, in the past, if you read about battles and if you go further back in the past, anytime there's a very heavy battle, Chinese talk about it too. Well, even in our modern era, when you got 4th of July, and, you got Lunar New Year and all the fireworks and, this kind of thing. After this huge fireworks display, it always rains, and the generals, especially in like Vietnam, are talking, man, it would be just outrageous. It'd be dry season, but they'd have a battle and it would start raining. Cloud seeding.
New numbers out of Washington show inflation is on the rise again. Another threat to you, your savings account, and your retirement. Ask yourself an honest question. Does your dollar go as far as it did 10 years ago, or 5 years ago, or even last year? What does the next decade look like for you and your savings? If your portfolio lacks exposure to gold, one of history's most reliable economic hedges, it's time to rethink your strategy. Gold has kept up with inflation and in many periods outpaced it. My friends at Noble Gold Investments specialize in helping people protect their wealth with physical gold and silver. Whether you're rolling over an IRA or making a direct purchase, their team walks you through the entire process and makes it simple. No pressure, just education and experience. And the limited time offer March bonus, get a 1/10th ounce gold American Eagle coin for new qualified accounts. Visit 2030gold.com and discover how easy it is to protect your financial future. That's 2030gold.com. Click on that link in the description box below.
This is what it's all about. Like when you put these particulates up there that can then become droplets and all different shapes, sizes, forms, and chemical makeups of things to pull cloud droplets together and then start raining. Well, this is the biggest battle. And how many hundreds of years do you think? We haven't really seen this since at least World War II. In Dresden, that was like just one place, right? This is the whole Middle East continuously smoking. It's hard to put oil fires out. So all that's continuously going into the air, forming droplets that then rain back down. And this is why they're getting biblical rains. It's going to continue as long as the war continues. Now, how long before this continues to drift a little more east is the question. Total precipitation, as you can see, over the same exact areas, and that would be expected anyway. So thousands of these smaller fires are burning like this, yet there's very large fires that are adding into the whole, where there's 7 or 8 that are just inextinguishable at the moment, and they're going to keep burning. Extreme rainfall hit in the Middle East. The red that you see at the bottom there on the peninsula, years worth of rain. It's actually 2 years worth of rain in the UAE and Abu Dhabi. Oman, also day before yesterday, got the year's worth of rain. So this whole area in the red is at least getting a year's worth of rain at the minimum. Some areas 2 years worth of rain in a single day. That's going to continue. It looks like the smoke is drifting a little bit to the south, and then it's going to continue to the east, further into southern Iran, and then past Afghanistan. 6 inches of rain, well, that would be expected because Kuwait and a little bit north of Kuwait, where the loading terminals were there with Iraq, that got blown away, and the northwest Iran areas too. That's all that, anywhere you see that dark green, that's where the fires are very large with a lot of, soot is the best word I could use for it coming up. And you can see the varying degrees of fires relating into cloud formation above the destroyed sites. So this is a 1-to-1 ratio pretty much. And now we need to add in the burning tankers. You got floating goodness too to throw into the mix here. Those were those yellows or the orange circles on the map that I showed you, and these continue 1 or 2 extra per day or adding into the totals on that. So what we see is a metacane that came off the Mediterranean there. This is spinning, but it seems to be running into some blocking pattern. Well, all that soot, and it's slowing down in the atmosphere, and they're getting these rain outs. So what do I mean by that is, well, you can see where the wind pattern got bent, redirected, and then sent further south. This soot apparently is going up 25 to 35,000 feet into the atmosphere. It's heavier, it's denser than wildfire smoke. You're talking about oil particulates. The density of this event of burning composition of chemicals and this sort of and different makeup of this is far beyond volcanic ash. It's far beyond wildfire smoke. We saw what was happening in Iraq as well during the first Iraq war. When they set the oil fields on fire as they were retreating out back to Kuwait. This is dwarfs in comparison to that. And, they talked about the weather patterns changing there too with the oil fires and that was ground level, very small. They were just oil fields themselves. They weren't the refineries and the pipelines and the loading terminals and all these other things of just gargantuan stature compared to a little tiny oil pump, little tiny hole in the ground. These are massive. And, I can't believe we're not talking about this. So if anybody tells you to take a shorter shower or try to save energy, I would just point there and go, don't ever talk to me ever again about emissions as long as you live. And people are condoning this like, rah, rah. As long as this thing goes on and you got a thing going on up in Europe, just really zip it. Don't ever want to hear about it again. This whole, what was the last 40 years of talking points ends today. It's no longer necessary. And you can see where there is a large band of smoke, whap, right where that stops and where that light strawberry pink color is. Those are going to be some of the largest fires right there that are colliding in this atmospheric column. This is why you're starting to get a lot of cloud building right there. Case in point, they're telling you to stop flying and they're putting this into the air at the exact same time. They're telling you to take a bicycle and eat insects, yet this goes into the air at the exact same time. This is a conversation that needs to stop, and everybody on that side of thing making a living out of, trying to guilt trip you into changing your life. You should be out of work. There's no longer, we don't even need to talk about that anymore. And I'll show you the same thing where the burning of all the oil infrastructure is across the Middle East. This is where the heaviest precipitation is. You can almost look at it one for one on the ground map here. And over to, I do believe this is Dubai and Kuwait also. UAE, they're, again, years where they're raining a day. And this is 60, 70 mile per hour winds, not normal, blowing sideways like this. Yeah, they do get some rain, but not like this. Hurricane force winds coming through here, category 1. A little bit below that, 60, 65, sometimes 70 gusts. Look at the date trees. You don't see this every day, and you won't expect to see this. This is caused directly by all the smoke that is burning. Oh yeah, and this charm here, you're telling you not to fly, yet these are in the skies 24/7, running from the States back and forth across the ocean. How much you think that puts in the air on a 16-hour sortie, do you think? Times hundreds of those. And this is why we're getting rivers in the cities here, Middle East, feet of water standing because they don't get that type of precipitation. Their drainage is just overwhelmed by this, not used to it, can't be. And again, back to the flights. China move could doom Aussie flights. Well, they relied too much on their imports from other nations. So China's cut off the A1 jet fuel, so only one ship inbound. And China is Australia's largest jet fuel supplier. So if you get into Australia, you're probably, going to pay a lot more to get out if you can at all. That brings me back to the point. This whole green movement over the last 40 years has turned out to be an Achilles heel. They destroyed the plants that could have been their backups for electricity and the refineries across Australia. We're going to go to wind and solar. Cool. You don't run your trucks on wind and solar. They didn't convert to a battery fleet fast enough. Asia, they mothballed them, the power plants. They're bringing them all back online again. So Asia's going full coal again as we speak. They don't care what they burn. Electricity's coming. They're going to substitute the natural gas. They're going to go to coal. Now, China has this huge thing about using, like Germany did in World War II. They're going to take the coal and they're going to turn that into oil. Indonesia, same thing. They're massively ramping up one of their mothballed plants that took coal and is turning that into liquid oil. And they're going to run it through the refineries again. So what's old is new once again. And all these talking heads and talking points and, this many parts per million can no longer be a really valid point. With all these wars going on across the planet, you can't honestly tell me that can even be a valid point to even compare anything against anything any longer. Don't fly, but the stratotankers, refuelers, all the jets, the B-52s, they're all good. Just you, not good. See what I mean? The hypocrisy here is like at level 10 plus. The bullpucky smell just everywhere wafting around the Middle East, isn't it? They cut our fuel supply on purpose across the planet over the last 20 years, had to go green, not allowed to use fuels. And now you can see the Achilles heel, what damage that has done to our world. We're not going to get that back. Fertilizers off, 30% of the fertilizers aren't coming. Expect crop yields down. That's going to raise food prices. Most of this infrastructure that's destroyed, probably not coming back in 3 to 5 years, if it ever at all. So the world we're experiencing right now is completely turning over, and all these new stipulations about uh, movement of travel. They're talking about lockdowns again, energy rationing, and everything. Yet again, the war machine has unlimited access to fuel. You, the serf, have almost no access to energy now. You can see where, in the grand scheme of the pyramid, where we all sit at the bottom in the sewer. They don't care about anything or anyone except their own motivations and their own agendas. You can see clearly that we have been gaslit for the last 40 years. Again, I should get a shirt that says hypocrisy of war, emissions, something like that on it, because anytime anybody ever comes to me again and says CO2, there's a few four-letter words I can't really say here on the net, but you get my meaning. And for those of you into the planting and understanding that we're getting another cold front, 2 more are inbound here into the States. Like, look at the temperature drops across the States here. Temperature drops almost 40 degrees in a single day. And this is going to push south. So if you got any blooms out there, you're going to want to protect them. This brings us through like the 27th, 28th-ish, depending on your time zone. Also, there's one more cold front that's going to be coming down in about 2 weeks. So you can expect another blast of at least hard freeze inbound. So if you are having your plants out there and they have bloomed out, trees, that sort of thing, fruit trees, if you want to save that, you're going to need to cover it and get ready for it. Also, you're going to have to take the gardening seriously. So, one of my favorite sponsors here, trueleafmarket.com, heirloom and organic seeds for any grow zone on the planet. Talk about centralized systems. Like, they're already cutting off store times in Egypt. That's going to be a copy paste across the planet. You know how it was during like 2020. Started a little bit here, started a little bit there, but then everybody followed everybody else, and it was a global thing. So this is the exact same thing. We're getting into energy lockdown. So now it's 9 o'clock here. Eventually it'll be 7 o'clock. Eventually you'll be able to drive 1 day a week. I don't want to drive 1 day a week. What if the store's out of food and the deliveries aren't there because whatever the trucks didn't come that day, and that's the only day you can drive to go get food, and there's really nothing left there of fresh veg? Grow your own. Get off the supply chains. Work with your neighbors. If you're going to work from home, grow a garden. Have everybody around you start growing something different that we can trade amongst each other. Maybe somebody already knows how to grow something. Tomatoes, lettuces, whatever. Think about other types of foods that you could trade. Tobacco, that's a great one to grow, and you don't have to use any chemical. And then you can make your own pesticides out of that. You can trade with people who smoke, because that whole supply chain of tobacco is going to get cut off because they don't have the fertilizers and the pesticides. But why don't you grow it without the pesticide? It was always considered a sacred plant anyway, like sacred corn planter and all these other ones you can get. True Leaf Market has a great tobacco seed selection as well. There's just so many things that you can think of in terms of tradables. You're going to have to grow some of your own food. It's coming to that point. So work with your farmer, work with your neighbors, see where you can go. Also, storable foods. My Pear Supply and Adapt 2030 got the 1 month, the 3 day, and also the 1 week emergency food kit. Test that out. Dip your toe in the water. You don't have to break the bank when you're feeling through that whole world there. Test out the 3 day food kit. See what it might, bring you. At least you have that over in the corner. Coming into a strange world. We are definitely going into the end of the decade. Check, check, check boxes. All based on this, and all the damage here that's done. It's not coming back online pretty much. So you got to think, was this in the plan itself, or is this an organic event happening, or is this to try to drag us across the goal line where we would not go voluntarily, even from 2020 to 2023? Please share with your friends, family. Great conversation to have. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.